Wow, Lydia, look at the diversity in here. Talk us through, what are we looking at here?
They're beautiful, aren't they? So this is a diverse herbal ley, one particular mixture. And I think it's important, you know, when we talk about herbal leys, we realise that it's not just a single thing. There's actually loads of different ways that you can go. Both of these mixtures were put together by Frontier Agriculture's environmental seed group, Kings. There are others that do it as well, but these happen to be the ones that we've used today. So this is a high biomass mixture which contains, and the three important components are legumes, herbs and grasses. And because they've got very different root structures, they utilise different types of the soil, and some go deeper, some are very superficial. And so rather than having a sort of a very simple, like a grass clover mixture, which has traditionally been used for so many years, you've got much more potential for a high biomass, and you've got a lot more potential of interaction between the roots and the soil microbes, and getting that whole mineralisation, mixing of the soil, getting the worms in there.
Yeah.
So I think that they are magnificent.
Things, clovers.
Beautiful resources for pollinators.
Look at that.
So we've got the clovers, we've got bird's foot trefoil or lotus if you prefer. Crimson clover, red clover. This is a slightly different one. This one will be, sadly not at cereals because it'll disappear, but if you were growing this in your farm, this will become quite dominated by sainfoin. So this is sainfoin here, which is a very tall, vigorous forage legume which will grow up to this kind of a height. Very, very deep, robust root system. And then that's twined with things like Timothy grass and black medic, and there's some white clover and red clover in there. So this is a more legume dominated one, and it will give a lot of both structure and potential free nitrogen from the nitrogen fixation. So a different sort of fast, high biomass, little bit slow burner, but lots of potential for nutrient enhancement as well as the soil structure.
So shall we go and
Let's
see
go
what's
see
going on
what
underground?
Looks like underground, yes.
And so here we are now underneath the ley that we were just looking at. So look at this root structure.
It's amazing, isn't it? We drilled this in August, so here we are in June, really a small number of months, and you would expect to normally lay these down, no pun intended, for at least 3 or 4 years. And this root structure, which has already developed in under a year, will continue to work its way down and take up the soil profile. We've got an interesting soil here at Cereals this year. It's very, very light, sandy soil. So I think that's helped getting that root system right down and to dominate. This is the topsoil layer here, and then we're into the subsoil and then the parent material, which is a sandstone. But look at this. This is, you know, a very, very light soil. There's hardly any clay in it. It's been looked after well by the farmers, so there's decent organic matter, but this fabulous thick root structure is really holding that soil together. And if we go down and have a look what you get underneath a cereal system, you'll see that you can bash it. I'm losing a little bit there, but you will have an absolute avalanche of soil. So that structural integrity, and look at all these solid pieces of soil that are held together, partly by the root structure, but partly by the soil microbial organisms that are partly associated with the root and partly just living in the soil. So that structural stability gives you a soil that's much less able to be eroded or to slump, and functions well, gives you the soil porosity, and allows if you're going into wheat afterwards, allows you a good soil structure for the crop roots to penetrate.
And there's even some roots down here.
There are some roots down there, but look here.
Oh, look at that.
So remember,
wow,
August.
The wonder of plants.
That's almost certainly one of the legumes, probably crimson clover. But yeah, all the ones that will dominate the surface are equally important because they give you that strength of holding all the soil together, and in the early part of the year when soil can be a little bit more vulnerable to water and to wind blow, that's extremely unlikely to happen in this kind of a situation.
Brilliant.
Fabulous. Should we go and have a look and see what it looks like under the cereals?
Let's. Now underneath the cereals, we've got a slightly different situation.
We have. This is a nice, healthy looking crop. As I say, this soil has been looked after. It's a nice, decent sized, healthy topsoil. A little bit of this stoniness within there, and then we've got a decent sized subsoil. Almost no worms. In fact, I have literally not found a worm in here. That's not particularly surprising for a sandy soil. I find it very irritating, so you always will find fewer worms in a sandy soil, and that's why it's particularly important that you have a good structured soil and a good root system, which gives you the sorts of benefits that earthworms normally would. But remember, I bashed that soil there, and here we've got this sort of thing happening. So it's held together. We've got a nice root system there, but it's very much more susceptible. And you can see people have done this. This is the second day at cereals now, and we've literally worn away a shelf worth of soil, which we didn't do up there with the soil that was beautifully held together with the root. And then if we have a look, there are roots through here. They're all the same though. They're all the same fibrous roots. Quite a small root system compared to what we had over there. It's good, you know, it's a nice healthy crop, but we don't have that real breadth and depth of root system that's locking it together. There's one little root there. I'm not seeing anything though further down. And I think that's, you know, that kind of underlines why it's important to have rotation within the crop system, so you've got the potential to move on from something that's a very simple root system like that.